Alright guys, I am still on the steep embankment and I just made an awesome discovery. What is going on, everyone? I hope you're all having an absolutely fantastic day. It has been way too long since I have done a metal detecting video. I haven't posted one on YouTube for almost a year. And it's time to change that right now. This is going to be an old-fashioned metal detecting video. And let me show you where I'm hunting today. My property that was built in 1951 that I did not metal detect yet. So I'm going to have a lot of area to cover. It will not all be done in one day. I assume there will be more videos to come. I have this front yard area and then also a big back lot that goes up to a steep cliff edge there that oversees the creek. And there's a bit of property on the side too. So it's not a really large property, but it's old in a very unique setting. So I definitely think there are going to be some things coming out of the ground here. It's in like the 40s and cloudy, and we had a ton of rain yesterday. I have been wanting to do a video a little bit earlier, but for anyone who doesn't know, there's been pretty extreme drought conditions here in Tennessee. The rain has just been avoiding us. It's been one of the worst areas in the country toward the end of this year, which we haven't had a major drought for quite a long time in this area. So even after buckets of rain yesterday, I'm hoping it's still, wet enough, because it's already dried up. The ground just really soaked it all up, and it really doesn't even seem all that wet. But anyway, we're digging today no matter what. So stay tuned, and we'll see what comes out of the ground. So I started in the front yard, and there's not many signals up here. I just dug 2 pieces of aluminum in this section. And right here, I got the first coin about 1 inch down. Rang up in the zinc range, so I don't think it's anything special. And that's just a zinc penny, probably from around the 1990s or so. But it's the first coin. I'm happy to have it, and we'll keep moving on. So toward the top of the yard, it's solid clay, and as you get lower down, it's a more rich soil. I had a signal here. I'm getting close to the original retaining wall out in front of the house. And that's just a steep drop off right there, about 4 feet down to the road. And I got a solid 82 signal that sounded like a penny, but a little bit bigger. And I got 2 inches down. I don't know what this is. Looks to be a disc of some kind. It's not a coin. I don't know what this is. Something weird on the back there. I don't know if this is just a piece of junk. It appears to maybe be copper, like a thin piece of copper. That's odd. I don't think I've ever quite found anything like this before. Yeah, actually, maybe I hit it with the shovel there a tiny bit. That looks like copper. Doesn't look like a button though. And I don't know. That's a weird one. I'll clean it up. We'll see what it is later. Unfortunately, I haven't been finding much in the front yard. I think a lot of this is fill dirt, which is what you run into when properties are on a slope. There's a much greater chance that the fill dirt has been used over the years. But it's not conclusive yet. I found one of these in the front yard here just a minute ago. I can't remember what these are, but I remember finding these in gardens before. It's aluminum. Somebody in the comments is going to know what that is. And I decided to do one live here. I randomly ran into a really good signal. It sounded like a silver coin, like a silver dime. But the issue is the tone drops a little bit one direction. If I can find it here. This way. Beautiful crisp 87, which is a perfect silver dime signal on the button. 89 there. 86, 85. In some ways it was dropping to like a copper penny. It's not very deep. Let's go ahead and just try it and see what happens here. That would be awesome if it was a silver coin. See, it's not clay right here, and it's been really dry even though we had a ton of rain yesterday. You can see the high areas are still dry once you get below the surface. All right, let's get the pinpointer out. still in the bottom there yet. Unfortunately, it's a piece of copper, and that's why I gave off a really good signal. And you can see all this gravel and concrete bits here. That's not a good sign. That could be fill dirt. Hard to say though. Okay, I'm close to the landscaping here, and I'm pretty certain this one actually is going to be a coin, and it's either going to be copper or silver, most likely copper, because the tone's right around low 80s. It does bounce a little higher once in a while though. It's a couple inches down anyway. I mean, this could be another piece of copper, but it's ringing up a little bit more consistent than the last one. And this grass is really thick. I spent a lot of days over here clearing leaves and getting this cut down to be able to detect here. And I see it, it is a coin, and it's definitely going to be the oldest coin so far. Oh, it's a dime. Or no, that's a penny. Man, you can tell I haven't done this in a while. Can't judge the size looking through the camera. Yeah, see Lincoln on the front, and the relief looks pretty high. That's looking good. So this is either going to be a wheat penny or probably a pre-1969 memorial. And with as crusty as it is there, I don't know if we're going to be able to tell right now. If it was wet, I'd be able to wipe it off a little bit more, but this ground is still dry here. But that's a good sign that there's patches here where there's not any fill. So that's good. At the newest, this is going to be a 1968. Hopefully it's a bit older. House was built in 51. All right, moving on to the next one. I cleaned it up and we got good news. It is a wheat penny, 5 years after the house was built. 1956 Denver. This is the type of coinage we're looking for. Perfect. Maybe there's a silver hiding around here somewhere. Okay, as I'm on the left side of the walkway and getting closer to the original marble front porch, the good signals are picking up. So I have another one here that I would say most certainly is going to be a coin. Now this is pegging 83, 84 perfectly, so it should be another copper cent. But could it be a wheat? It's hard to say until we dig it out. It's not very deep, but unless it's a clad dime, it should be at least 1982 or before, because this is in the copper range. So we'll see if it's in the same date range of that last one, or perhaps a little bit newer. I already see it when I pulled that up. You can see down in here, that looks like the edge of another penny, I think. Yes, this one has the memorial on the back, so as I guessed, it's not going to be as old as the last one. The relief looks low, so it should be 1969 to 1982. On to the next one. Alright guys, this one makes me happy. I was just closer over to the steps, and you can tell it's more fill and heavy clay over there, but I came back and did another pass, and I'm just probably not even a yard away from where I found that 1956 D wheat penny. Right up here by the corner of the house. And I didn't film this one live because the signal was a little inconsistent, so I thought it would just be copper or aluminum and not a coin. It is aluminum, and I was right, but I think it's a ring. See, there's like a fake plastic stone on it. This is probably a vintage kid's ring, probably from the 1950s or 60s. And you can see it's good 4 inches down there in the clay. So it does appear that this clay in some areas is original, which is of course normal for Tennessee. So this is not all fill. That's awesome. And you can see these awful thick grass roots. I hate that invasive grass. Somebody probably knows what it's called, but that's why the grass is so thick in this yard. Oh, the roots are literally growing through this, but yes, that is an aluminum kid's ring. Never found one quite like this before, with that kind of plastic gem look-alike there. Not sure if this is from like a cereal box or what. That's really cool. So it does show me that there was likely some kids running around this yard as well, which is always a good sign. Where there were kids growing up, they were always dropping pennies, stuff like this. Maybe we'll find a cap gun here. I'm sure there's going to be stuff in the backyard. We have a lot of area to cover. This makes me happy. Nice old vintage kids ring right there. Alrighty, so I have some good news and bad news. The bad news is there was hardly anything other than what I already showed in the front yard, other than some other bits of scrap. I think just too much fill dirt and probably digging over the years, new pipes, fill dirt from it settling, from that being on a slope, etc. The good news is I always knew that the backyard was more promising. The front yard, I knew that thick grass was planted. They probably tried to remedy stuff, probably a lot of ground shifting, drains, who knows what. This property sit on a slope, has had some water issues in the basement over the years. That's the good news. The back here should be a lot more original soil. This goes up kind of a fairly steep slope, and then when it gets to the top, it overlooks kind of like a cliff area that you can see down to a creek. So I'm thinking there's going to be some old coins or relics, at least back in this area. That's the hope. Let me show you this here. This is a little bit more bad news because I think there would have been some coins around this area. All of this on the back is an addition that was done, I believe, around 2016, I think it was. They built this on the back, made a little kind of patio area back here with a hot tub and good area to sit in the summer and stay cool. So this back door, which the original door is still on the inside and they added the iron, and this actually used to be a marble pad back here that was demoed, and I actually have a lot of the marble. They left it here on the property, same as the front porch. So all of this asphalt, this parking area they made, extending the driveway, all of that, usually around the old, back steps, there could always be coins and unique things, but whatever's there is long buried. And but hey, let me show you something I just found here. So I'm assuming, you can see this retaining wall, I'm assuming all this area has been dug up at least to where you start getting to the slope. So I don't expect anything old in through this section, but of course I'm looking anyway, because you never know what's been pushed around. And I got something interesting down here. You can see the different layers where the soil was pushed, and I know they put a drain right through here to remedy some water issues, because this basement, being on a slope, has had water issues over the years. And I got what appears to be an old house number. Trying to figure out if that's a 6 or a 9. You have to comment below and let me know. I think that looks more like a 6 with the curve at the top. Yeah, I think it looks more like a 6. Now the interesting thing is the house number for this property neither has a 6 or a 9 in it, so not exactly sure what that was for. But anyway, I'm going to keep looking in this strip here, and I'll keep you updated. Got a beautiful view from here, that's for sure. And I'll show you all quickly some of the pieces of original marble I had just started using, even down in the landscaping and stuff. There was pieces of marble all over the property, and I'll be repurposing it. And check out this cable that's been eaten by this tree over the years. Not sure what that cable was for, but the rest of this tree is going to have to come down. You can see parts already gone. This is a pretty big tree. Unfortunately, not many targets from the bottom there, and I did a couple passes on the slope and then started the flat area where this kind of flattens out. I was thinking, oh man, maybe this is where there'd be more of a concentration of stuff. Haven't really been finding anything, but we'll do this live because the signals have been far and few between. But I got a signal here near the surface that's high conductive. It sounds, I mean, I don't think it's going to be like a penny or something. It sounds bigger. It could just be trash, but it's a good signal, so we'll check it out. Yeah, it's not right on the surface, so that's good. So if it's trash, it should at least be older. Is that it? No, I thought there was something there. Okay. Oh, what was that? Hold on. Wait a second, is that a ring? Is that another ring? Oh, no. That got me. Well, it is a ring. Not the kind I'm looking for. Just an old tarp or tent grommet. We'll keep looking. That got me. So just a minute ago, right down about here, there was like a piece of copper wire, fairly deep, like 5 inches. So that makes me fear some of this ground's been shifted too. But I couldn't get it out. I only have my hand shovel right now. It must have been a big piece. I couldn't leverage it out. So I decided I'll get it another time. But we'll just see what this is, because this one has a pretty good sound to it. It's in the 90s. Sounds fairly large. I don't think it's going to be a coin. If it is, it'd be like a $50 or something. Figured we could check this one together and just see if it's anything interesting. It's a very heavy pack of clay here, and obviously a lot of rocks from the natural formation here, just how the property is. A lot of natural boulders and stuff. Let's see, you can see how thick this is back here. But if anything fell on top of an old boulder with a little bit of soil on top that can't sink, that'd be interesting if we found something old like that. But you can see how these big targets are way down in this clay, which makes me think this has been excavated back here. I'm not going to be able to do this one live. I got to go down quite a bit, but I'll let you know what it is. Okay, I pulled it out. It was about 5 inches down there, and you can see this is what you don't want to see when you're digging, is mixed soil types, like heavy clay mixed with looser soil and then rocks. This is what was down there, about 5 inches in this heavy pack, which tells me almost conclusively that this has been dozed around back here. Maybe this was steeper. Maybe they leveled out this flat area at some point. It's really hard to say. But there's targets back here, so I'm gonna keep digging. You never know when something old's gonna pop up. Y'all ready for the big reveal of my next target? Ugh. Is this a license plate? Oh my goodness, it is. Unbelievable. I thought it was just gonna be an old pie tin from like the 60s. Well, that's at least kind of cool. I don't know if they plowed this around or what with a dozer. But it's a Tennessee plate. This thing is in really bad shape. It's funny that I just found these in license plates in the privy that I dug up in my last video at my farmhouse. And I think, if I remember correctly, on these older ones, well, if it is older, this is, I don't know, based on the design of this one, semi-old. The date should be up in this crumbled up area, so I'm not going to be able to tell right now. But I guess this is probably 1980s-ish. I'll try to fold it out a little bit later, but I was not expecting that back here. Okay, well, interesting find nonetheless. License plate. I did forget to mention before I came in the back, I found one more zinc penny along the edge of the asphalt near where the driveway comes up in behind here. And honestly, back here, I haven't been finding too much. And you can see the framing there where I took down an old dry tent that was not in good shape. And I looked up and around in there, wasn't finding anything. And I'll show you guys back that section of what I'm working on here too, using the leaf blower to blow the side of the cliff off to look for stuff. There's a lot of very scrap metal back there. You can tell there was some dumping over the years, so there could be some interesting stuff back here. But as you can see, going into my neighbor's property, this is all pretty densely wooded back here. So maybe back in the day, somebody wanted to clear this out and make yard space, and they just used a dozer and leveled a lot of this. There is a couple giant tree stumps that I'll show you all of, where they left the stump there. But maybe that's what happened here. Maybe all this ground was manipulated. But obviously, when you get into giant formations like this, they weren't moved. So you never know where there could still be old stuff around the edges. And you can see down here just how big some of these boulders are. But anyhow, I didn't show earlier either. I did find a bullet in the side yard and another one just a second ago here, some fired bullets. So those are fairly old, likely fired off before this house was built. And then right in this section here, I started finding some lumps of melted lead in this section, so I don't know what that's all about, but I'll look around here more, see if I can pull out something a little better. So let me show you around a little bit. Awesome big boulders back here. You can tell where they uprooted some trees over the years and they just put them on the top here. This is the unofficial property marker. I didn't have it surveyed again. Right here. And the interesting thing is, well, once you get about right to where my finger is, it's a steep drop off. So that's probably, I mean, that's like a more natural, this is like an official property boundary, but where that steep cliff drops off, I say that's where my property ends. And then a business over here owns the strip that runs by the creek. And wish I would have the camera on a little bit earlier when I looked down there. Great blue heron just flew off from in the water down there. But anyway, there's this giant boulder right here, and it's very close to, you know, that more modern marker. So I'm thinking maybe perhaps back in the day, maybe somebody placed this giant one right here to kind of give an estimate for the property edge. It's just a thought, because it looks like this one was moved here, not just sitting there. So anyway, I've been taking the leaf blower back through here the past couple days. I got to clear these down trees out of here, so I could look for stuff back here, getting all of this thick debris out of here from over the years. I'm going to clear out this whole edge so you can see the water most of the year. Even in the summer you can see it a little bit, even when this grows in, once all this is gone. So let me show you over here. I mean, you can tell there's been some old dumping back here, which makes sense by this cliff. There's some old cast iron piping right here. You see that? That's been down there for a really long time. That was probably pulled out of the house. And I'm trying to very carefully do this edge here, because I could easily lose my metal detector or pinpointer off the side of this cliff if it rolls. It's very steep here. I'm not sure how much the camera shows it. You can kind of see it from this angle. And had a blasting signal here that sounded like a silver quarter. And did get some older trash down here. This is a old aluminum tube of some type. Probably, it looks too small for toothpaste. It's probably some type of cream or something. I should be able to see what's on here when I clean it up later. But at least that's some older trash in an old aluminum tube. So I'll work this a little bit more and then head back up more in the flat area. Alright guys, I am still on this steep embankment and I just made an awesome discovery. There is a little bit of a older trash pit kind of right in here on the slope, and I dug up two of these brass things right here along with some other scrap, and there's a tiny bit of glass there. I came up here and had a signal, and when I saw this had lettering on it, I knew what it was. Check this out right here. It's an old disabled American Veterans tag. It says postage guaranteed. You used to be able to drop these in the mail to return them. And I don't know exactly the age of these, but it's kind of post-World War II, I believe, kind of in the 1950s or so, if I can remember correctly. But that's a pretty cool find here. This, I'm guessing this was discarded, and with a lot of this trash on the hillside. Oh, and the wind's picking up, that's cold. But that is a cool find back here. So there is trash on this hillside, and there could be some other interesting stuff mixed in. And I'll have to use the leaf blower back here more to clear some of this, because it's mostly covered in leaves and debris right now. But I found stuff in the little area that I cleared here, so that's a great sign. I came out of the trash pit area over by the cliff because I'm going to save that for another day. Probably do a complete separate video on that. I'll use my leaf blower and clear the whole area back there and see what else we can find. But for now, I came into the main area of the backyard where there's not a whole lot of targets. And I came where the slope goes down into where the addition was built on. And believe it or not, I did get a coin down in through here. And let's check it out. It did ring up in the copper range, so I don't know if it's going to be a wheat penny or a slightly more modern one. But looking at that, I'm pretty sure that's the reverse of a wheat penny. Yeah, there's Lincoln there. And yeah, I don't see the memorial on the back, so cool. This is going to be a wheat penny, and hopefully it's older than the last one. There are definitely some things hiding down here. It just takes a lot of effort. It's old coin number 2. All right, I just made a really good find, and I was not expecting this. I was gonna mention in the video that it's possible I could find something like this on this property because of the geography and the general location, but I decided not to because I knew the chances would be slim. But I think I have a musket ball in the hole, and it's likely Civil War period, but it doesn't necessarily have to be from the Civil War. But let me show it to you. And I have found some Civil War relics in this town and other areas before, because it's in proximity to some pretty significant battles and skirmishes. But right here on the slope, you look down right there, had a signal kind of choppy in the 70s. And that is definitely an old, very oxidized musket ball. So I'm super happy to have this. This probably is from the American Civil War. That is awesome to pull this off of my property here. That makes up for the lack of mid-century coins and stuff like that here, because we warped back about 100 years all of a sudden from that last target. Really awesome find. I'm really happy to have that one. Let's keep looking. So I started doing the strip here right in between my yard and my neighbor's property, and I just dug a zinc penny and a 12 gauge shotgun head stamp, a really old one. So there's still stuff around here. The good news is for everybody, I'll let you all know now, I do have permission to do this property, so this entire lot up until the house here. And this one's a few years older than mine, built in 1948. So who knows, maybe there'll be more stuff in this clear lot on the side. I also have permission to do all of the woods back here that's adjoining my property. And there's no way to do it now, the leaves are too thick. But in the spring, my neighbor is planning on cutting down literally almost every single tree in the woods back here to making it clear, because it's a nightmare for leaves with the houses sitting down. So it's going to make yard work for everybody a lot easier. And I'm going to cut some of the trees down over here as well. But when all of this brush is cleared, I will be able to get a metal detector back in there. And this soil back in here is probably more original than on my side. So this is likely not the last video you're going to see in this general location. I have a lot more exploring to do. I got to get the leaf blower on the back and dig out the trash there. I just got a lot more nooks and crannies I got to go through, and planning on making a separate video for the front yard of this property if there's a lot of stuff there. So I'm going to poke around here a little bit more. We'll see what happens. And just briefly, for those of you who didn't see the shorts videos I did at this property a year ago before I took another break from YouTube, these are the andirons that I found in the basement behind the fireplace that was all boarded off, and there was just some material and debris mounted up all over them. They had just been there for decades and decades, kind of rotting away. The legs are actually in really bad shape, but really ornate pieces of iron. Still had the original grate across it. But if you want to see that shorts video and some other ones, you can check them out on the channel. I also tore the kitchen out of here, which I didn't remodel yet, and there was some cracks behind that, and I found all sorts of stuff behind the kitchen cabinets going back to like I found a letter with a stamp on it dating from 1966, I think. So this property's been pretty good for me, for the treasure hunting. But anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and end this adventure here for now, and I will update any information on the finds in a pinned comment on this video, the date of the wheat penny that we couldn't see, and anything else that's relevant. I didn't find anything too amazing that I didn't show enough that I think I have to do a wrap-up. I just have, a whole pouch full of scrap, and then a few decent finds, the pennies, the disabled veterans tag, the musket ball, and of course that aluminum ring. So it was a good hunt. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for the next one, which will probably be in the neighbor's lot. See you then.